Good morning, everybody. Long time no video. I have a guy doing some work around the house. That's why Moxie's on fire. She has to be committed by the end of the day here. Put these on for my hearing protection. Misty Mountain Hop. You know, I can't believe I don't have a video for this. I honestly thought I made one. And then when I went to make it, I was like, it's a tough one, kind of. Because, for me, obviously a lot of my videos, I wasn't sitting there when Bonham did it. Again, the reason why I got into making these videos was because I'd watch really, really great known drummers play Bonham stuff. And then this is how you do Bonham's Fool in the Rain, for example. It's like, well, that's not really how he did. Even though you're playing it more complicated and it sounds terrific, it's not what he did. So that's how I got into making the video. So here, Misty Mountain Hop is my best what I think is going on. At the very least, you'll get some good points out of it, whether or not you agree with a couple little things. Anywho. Okay, Misty Mountain Hop. Another example of a classic song in general, and a Zeppelin song, where the intro can throw you off. God knows it throws me off, or threw me off for decades. And a lot of other people I talked to, too. And again, other people never. They'd be like, no, it doesn't throw me off, I come right in. Like Rock and Roll, the song, that comes in on an and, 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? Misty Mountain Hop does the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, ba, da, da, da. Just in case you missed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, da, ba, ba, da, ba, 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 da, da. Hear that? Da, 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 da. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, ba, 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 boom, boom, ba, boom. Which is how I and a lot of other people always heard it. So that's kind of a cool mind screw if you've ever been screwed by the intro to this song. If you take the very first note you hear John Paul Jones touch as a 1, it makes the beginning incredibly cool. Not that it's not cool anyway, but the way it's actually played, it's a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, da, 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 like a little turnaround. That's all it is. But again, if you've never been so freaked out by the intro in such a cool way, try to hypnotize yourself and consider the very first note John Paul Jones plays on the clavinet or the whatever the hell he's playing on as 1. Da, 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 1. It's kind of really, really cool. Okay, so let's move on from that, okay? Essentially what it is, 1, 2, 3, da, da, Now I'll do the intro again in just a minute, but it's simply that. But another observation I want to point out, as far as I'm concerned, and I have to take my headphones off for this because it's very serious, I would bet dollars to donuts, to Dagwood sandwiches, that this song, at least the drum rhythm bed, was recorded probably the same day as When the Levee Breaks. Listen to the drums on this song. Okay? Listen to Misty Mountain Hop. Listen to the drums. You'll be like, you know, that freaking middle-aged guy, beyond middle-aged guy in that basement in the Midwest somewhere knows what the hell he's talking about. Listen to the drums, really. Now, there's no doubt that the drum track is slowed down, as is the track on When the Levee Breaks, which, by the way, Zeppelin fooled with the speed of the drums and the rhythm bed and vocals and things at various times, which was another trick of the master Jimmy Page, the producer. But I would, if Jimmy Page ever publishes a book or some manuscript like I suggested in my Dear Jimmy Page video that he does, sort of like the Beatles, like this guy right here, Complete Beatles Recording Sessions. We got the Complete Zeppelin Recording Sessions. Great book if you can get your hands on it. If Jimmy Page ever does publish the the Led Zeppelin Recording Sessions volumes, it would be invaluable. I'm fairly certain it would be like March 8th, 1970, or whatever. I don't know. October 3rd, 1970. Tracking When the Levee Breaks. Blah, 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 blah. Tracking Misty Mountain Hop. Just listen to it, okay? I feel that the drums probably set up in the exact same staircase foyer. Alright, back to the intro. Okay, if you have never been freaked out by the intro illusion of keyboards coming in on one. Check it out. It's a cool thing, and it sounds so beefy. For a long time, that added greatly to the Zeppelin mystique to me on that intro. I thought they added an extra eighth note in a similar fashion as I thought they did to rock and roll, before I sort of figured it out. Anywho, so the song comes in. The intro fill is... That's what I think he's doing. Again, like I said at the top of this video, it's what I think he's doing. I didn't have a chair next to him when he did it. But you can hear as it goes on, the next note is there's a descending into the crash. Okay? And that intro drum fill really sets up sort of the pocket, that sort of pocket Bonham would not necessarily can keep the whole time in a song, but at certain points where like a downbeat would come in, but god damn it, you know, you're gonna wait for him for it. Do you know what I mean? It was like the full value. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's the intro. That's what I think he's doing. My video, that's what I'm saying he's doing. So, now what happens in the structure of the song, the same thing is sort of repeated over about 5 times. Okay? With the exception of the guitar solo segment, which is about half as long as the first chunks. Okay? So the first chunk, the main chunks are, what did I do with my cheat sheet piece of paper? Well, it's gone forever. Okay, the song comes in right. I'm just going to call that the verse for now. Just calling it that, the V, okay? Now what happens there is you have, when that starts, there's sort of 2 basic general paradigms that Bonham plays in these 2 separate chunks. You have the da 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 whoopee cat. That segment, and then the release. The pressure lies. That one. Okay, even though those, my scatting general Robert Planty vocals out do not occur that early in the song, it conveys the point I'm trying to make. Okay, da 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 is one segment that occurs 4 or 5 times in the song, followed by da 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 da. Okay. So the first one, ba da 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 da, by and large, is Bonham. The basic paradigm, just for simplicity, you can sort of consider it's just like ba 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 for the first kind of 4 1/2/6 of it. Okay, 1/6, 2 and 3/4 okay, because what happens is so I'm going to sing it. Did you hear where he does that? Okay, so you have 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom, snare, boom, snare, boom, snare, boom, snare, boom, snare, boom, snare, boom. Okay, that's where he throws a little bit of the bass drum on the and there. He does it really every time, with the exception of one of the times, maybe 2 or the 3rd or 4th time through where he doesn't do it, and when he does, he drops that bass drum right on the, so like you're expecting it. But he doesn't one of the times. But by and large, that is the basic paradigm for the climbing up the something or other, this part of the song. Let's eat whoopee cat. Okay? So, again, basically just. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly what he's playing with that same choppy robot feel. I'm saying that's the basic paradigm beat. Okay, that's what he does, okay? And there's a couple pushes in there, too, he'll add in. So instead of he might go he might throw a couple of those in. Like a couple ands into the snare instead of just, okay, does that make sense? Instead of might be a couple of these. Just a couple, okay? Beat threes, as I call it when I teach my kids. Students. Anyway, so then we get into the release, which is the general beat where the beginning of the song is, which essentially then gets divided like this. Okay, pay attention there for a second, because I'm going to deaden the snare a smidgy widge. What happens there again in that part? Which I'll call the release. Okay, the verse is da 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 da. Okay, followed by da 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 that one. Okay, that one is what happens is it's sort of divided into two globules. You have and that's where the cool part, one of the cool parts, which really gives rise to that whole bottom feel, occurs in that segment. Because halfway through that segment, Bonham plays he doesn't do a 1 and 2 and 3. He goes, okay, because the keyboard every time is jumping it. Blah, 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 okay, which Bonham does follow some in the first two segments. Blah, 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 hear that? That happens halfway through. Does this make sense? Bring it up in another window, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, I don't want to start notating and okay? So okay, do you hear that? So you have the little jump on the bass drum. So let's put it in counting mode. Boom, so you have four of those, right? Boom, snare. So boom, snare, 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 boom, boom, snare. Okay? Again, I know this is perhaps silly and other people might be crying to their mammies about it, but it's the easiest way, I think, to teach it and to learn it. Da 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 whoopee cat da 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 boom ba boom boom ba boom ba boom boom ba boom ba boom boom ba. Does that make sense? Listen to it and be like, that guy knows what the hell he's talking about. Back to the thing. Whoopee cat ba ba da boom ba boom boom ba boom ba boom boom ba boom boom ba boom boom ba. Okay? One more time. Boom ba boom boom boom. Ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, ba. Okay, that's what happens in that chunk pretty much every time. In fact, I think it is every time. Okay? So just listen to my rambling of the last 139 seconds and just listen to that and be like, oh, all right, okay, even though he wasn't quite clear, I know what he's talking about. Because that happens there every time. Okay, and then we have, boy, I wish I could find my notes. We have the ba, but usually it ends with the ba. We're into that, okay? There's two of those usually, okay? Well, I forget what the hell I called it. But, our spirits go. That's not exactly what he does there, because I'm getting ahead of myself. But that's what happens. So there's usually two of those. And okay, and it doesn't really sound like, because of the nature of the way it's recorded, maybe the compression used and stuff, you don't really notice, okay, like eighth notes there as much. Because it's kind of, again, the tape, in my opinion, is slowed down. So this is a pair of sound Soundage has, okay? Mid-70s 15 bottom. The top I have is a 505, 1981-ish, very early 505 Green Label medium bottom, which to me mimics almost the exact weight of a really good pair I once had of these. No longer have, okay? Anywho, so you'll notice in Misty Mountain Hop, because the tape is slowed down, just like in When the levee breaks, that sounds more like shh, shh, shh. It's deeper and lower. Shh, shh. Like they sound like 18-inch hi-hats because it's slowed down, okay? Anyway, so bottom does, often in the song, it does sound like quarter notes are being played. But it really is eighths, okay? Even though he might not be hitting them so hard in between. Okay? As my friend Ryan pointed out to me after one time I played that song at a presence at a Zeppelin tribute band show 11 years ago where I played the whole song in quarter notes. And my friend Ryan was like, you realize that you didn't really play that right. And I was like... So, anyway. But so then you... Alright, so... You have two of those babies every time. Cut together by a break, okay? So you have... And then a repeat again. And here comes the part we're talking about. He pretty much comes into that one every time the same way. And he usually ends that second part either with, or sometimes, it's usually like a roughy type thing. Or, okay? Remember, and also one thing too, Bonham is the master of the rim shot. Don't forget that. That is of... We're going to take a quick intermission. First break, okay? What Bonham then does is in the break into the second whole chunk of da 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 into the second one, okay? Because remember, there's about 4 or 5 of those. He goes. It's like that, okay? So, but he actually goes. That's what I think exactly he's doing. Almost similar to like the... that type of thing, except it's... Now watch. Da-da-da-da-da! Da-da-da-da-da! But we're on the tom first. See that? Now that's a simplistic version of it. You can really hear him hit the tom, and then into the floor tom. It's a reasonable facsimile there of sonically, okay? But that's what I think he's doing. God knows it's the simplest, not a 16th note Philly version that you get later. That you get sort of later. But the first one is, so... Let me stop the hi-hat. So I'll loop that. Okay? That's what I think he's doing. Okay, then back into... Now remember, at that point, when you go back into the beat, that's not the... It's back into the same... not the climb. Da, 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 da. It's a little chunk of the release, but before it happens, okay? Which is the same beat. Okay? So, we get into one of those, and then into the climb again. Okay, so this all happens a few times. Okay, so instead of kind of going through the whole song, generally again you have 4 or 5 of those huge chunks. Okay, da 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 into ba 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 da 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 ba 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 da ba 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 da ba ba da ba 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 da 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 ba da ba There's the whole chunk. Okay, sorry, my shakes are kind of bad today. I'm telling you, I sure hope this doesn't turn into Parkinson's. Knock on wood. Anywho, so then what happens is we have 3 of those. Okay, we have 3 of those top-down thingies. Okay, whoop, and the 3, and then after the third is the guitar solo. Okay, which is about half the length. Everything doesn't occur twice as it does in the first sort of 3 segments. Okay, and in there. Well, what I want to do now is, so there's essentially sort of 3 different fills he does back into the song. Like I said, the first one is, okay? The second one's a little busier, which I think starts out the same way. But then I think it's like he goes into 16ths. Okay? So, and I think it actually is a... So that's what I think it is. He does a thing where I think he starts out, and I think what happens is after a while in the song you start getting a lot of this general thing. Okay? It's just kind of stuff like that. Now the problem then becomes too, Bonham live, when he plays it live, doesn't really play any of the stuff. At least in the Song Remains the Same version. Okay, so you kind of can't really double check it. Not that he should, but I'm just saying there's not even like the cool, snare fill, which is coming up, he doesn't do. Okay, so again, we're just talking about the recording. So first one, second one. That's what I think. Okay, so again, by and large, a reasonable facsimile thereof. The third one is almost in the third one's kind of cool because you can it sounds like in the room they're recording the drums in. It sounds like Plant. It leaks through the drum microphones because you hear like you hear like a little shouting, but. Okay, because the third one then sort of starts out almost Phil Collins-y, but it goes. It starts out like, and then he just starts going kind of around again, sort of in this fashion. I'm not 100% sure what he's doing. I wasn't there. You know what I do have to bring up, though, which is incredibly important? This would be an incredible coup for Led Zeppelin fans if Jimmy Page, in fact, when they recorded with the mobile truck, whichever one it was, whichever other, it was Ronnie Lane's, or the Stones, whoever it was. I've read, and I'm sure you have, but maybe you never really thought about it, they had closed circuit video so they could watch, if they were in the truck, they could see Bonham on a little screen. Imagine if that was somewhere stored away. Every take they did, again, in tandem with my idea of the complete Beatles recording session, with the complete Led Zeppelin recording session. Imagine if they had some of that footage. That would be priceless. Anyway, Jimmy Page, when you need me to help you out, just give me a call. You know where to find me. All right, so those are the 3 fills, okay? And then, okay, those are essentially the 3, okay? Again, I wasn't sitting there. Maybe if we access the video footage of which I was just speaking. Then in the solo, you have like a lot of... You have a couple of those. Like descends on the drums. And again, that's where the drums, listen to the drum. I'm not sure if the first intro snare part to that in the solo part is right, but the point I'm trying to make is listen again to the drum sound in that solo. It's as one of the levee breaks as you can get. It truly is. So, then what happens is coming out of the, I'm trying to, oh yeah, in the solo there's, so a fill between the sandwich parts. Remember I said there's a and then another one. Well, in the solo one, there's a fill that he does on the drum. So. Throw some floor tom in there. I don't know, but that's essentially it. 1, 2, 3, ba, ba da ba, ba da ba, boom boom. 2, 3, 4, da, ba da ba, boom boom. Okay, he does kind of like the same. Actually, coming out of there, he goes. It is very similar to the intro. So then we come into the last chunk. That is where we get the snare roll. Okay? Now here's the thing about that snare roll. A lot of people, Bonham didn't even play it live in the Song Remains Say version of this. Now I don't have the best technique in the world, clearly. But what I think Bonham is actually playing there, the figure he's playing, is in a triplet form. So if you slowed it way down, it'd be like 1 to 2 and a 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 1. Not 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 1. It's in a triplet feel. It's like da da da. That's what it sounds kind of like. Okay, very snare wiry on the bottom, sounding. But Bonham, as we know, and if you don't know, let me tune you into it. Bonham also had this ability sometimes for short bursts to do very fast single strokes in a weird kind of French timpani kind of way, which you see all over the joint. In like 1968, 69, 7, well, especially 69 stuff. Like Super Show, look at Super Show when they do Dazed and Confused, or Danish TV when they do Dazed and Confused. Look, he'll do these things like. But I mean, I'm like burning my wrists up to mimic the. But he'd do it a real fine. Anyway, my point is in Misty Mountain Hop, I do not think that's what he's doing. I don't. I think he's doing more of an open double. Like that kind of lighter. That's what I think he's doing, okay? And it would be performed, so like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. That's what the hat's doing. Da-da-ba-da-da. Like that. So 1, so like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Does that make sense? That's how I think it's being sticked. The meter of it being played, a triplet form, but twice as fast as it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and a 2, but doubled. Hear that? That's what I think he's doing. Now he might not be doing those doubles in sort of the totally bastardized, sort of drop catchy that I'm sort of bizarrely doing. But that's the only way I can do them. And the way he counts it, it comes in on the 1, 1, so it's 1, so comes in, okay, so on the 3 of the following is where he starts with those 8th notes. So okay, that's what happens there. You know what I'm saying? So okay, it's important. Okay, and I'll do my best to mimic it, although it's going to sound like steamy poo-poos. So again, see, we're ending on the 3 there. Okay, so let me see if I can try and mimic that. Ooh, hang on. We got it. I have to do the sticking of that. The sticking of that is, so you have okay? Except that what happens is he goes try 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what he does sound-wise. So fill, roll. 3 notes. So like a roll into a, okay? And I know my rolls are shite. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down and around the rest of the times. Okay, and whether he's doing it one-handed or 2. Or, you know what I'm saying? So that's ultimately what happens here. Let me try that again. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. God, that's really hard for me to do. I don't know what the hell I did when I faked it with Presence 14 years ago. I think I just went like that, which was hard. But again, I find that hard to do. I'm not going to lie to you. 2, 3, 4. I guess if I practice it for a week, it'd probably get a lot better. Okay? But again, the important thing to glean from this hatchet job of how I'm playing it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Rat-tat-tat, boom, rat-tat-tat, boom, 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 boom. Okay? So then we come out. Let me try that one more time. Well, he doesn't have the hi-hat going, but I'm going to try it anyway. For our benefit. 1, 2, 3, 4. A reasonable actually I should say this is a quasi-reasonable facsimile of what bottoms are. So then what happens is we come back into the song. Then bottom does a couple things where he drops the snare note out. Okay, so imagine we're playing the ending. Imagine I'm playing the ending. Like he drops 1 or 2 of those out. And that sounds really, really cool. And then after that he has another fill where it's like, where he's like, where it almost sounds for a minute like at the top of the fill he kind of does a little of this again. But back into like, and then as the fade out comes pretty fast and is out. So I hope that's helpful. Again, I thought I had done a Misty Mountain Hop video. God, I'd swear I did. Somebody pointed out to me like 2 months ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta make it. And then I've just been busy doing stuff. We're having some work done on the house, which is dude-sickle power washing. The stucco, which just scared the you-know-what. I thought somebody was breaking in here to chop my head right off. Anyway, that's Misty Mountain Hop. I have not forgotten about drum setup in the room, but here's the deal. I tried it. I've done it before in my earlier videos. You see my drums in our living room, but the sound isn't there because it's filled with furniture, okay? A friend of mine has a room that has some of his furniture in it, which I think is the ideal Zeppelin room. I just remembered I was at his house the other day and it dawned on me, I'm like, this is the effing room I gotta set my drums up in. So that'll be cool, because I'll also have him to kind of help me. That way when I'm playing, his name's Frank, by the way. I'll say Frank. When I'm playing, and I'll just sit and I'll play like, I don't know, 5 or 6 pieces of different pieces of 5 or 6 or 10 different Zeppelin tunes the whole time. Frank can sit there with the tripod with the camera in a position which I will designate to him, okay? Because I think there's certain points where when they would mic the drums where the cymbals would sound best, over the drums where drums would sound best, in front of the drum. As anybody knows, when you build a drum mix, it's sort of like putting a salad together, okay? Give me a little bit of that room mic, just a smidge of this, compress this a teeny bit, and voila, you have the sound. So that's the point I want to make. So the drum room with my bottom configuration, 26 configuration, is still coming. I'm just not going to do it. I have to do it at somebody else's house because the room I have just isn't cut the mustard. My friend Frank will help me. Again, thanks for watching my videos. It's been a while since I played, or since I made videos. I've been having a problem with my wrist, part and parcel of my shake. Actually, my shake isn't really bad right now. But I think I have tendonitis, which is sort of a bummer. So I got to deal with that. Anyway, keep drumming. Chicago Drum Show's coming up. It's in St. Charles, which is west of Chicago by about 30 or 40 miles. If you can make it, I believe it's 2 weeks from this weekend. So it's the 15th, 16th, and 17th. So if you can swing the Chicago Drum Show, that'd be terrific. I think I'll be able to swing on by. I usually am there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it this year, but we'll see. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for subscribing. Keep coming back. Thanks.